Here we go. What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Sunday night. What a great time to get together, talk about some gameage, a little bit of love, a little bit of life. I wanted to start off things a little bit. First off, let me tell you the drink for tonight, Jim Beam Rye. It's a little bit smoother Jim Beam bourbon. It's going to go great if you want to mix that with something. I am drinking it with a splash of Coca-Cola Zero. And I thought I'd start off tonight with an old favorite from the Bourbon Talks live streams. It's well, you know what it is. It's your shot of testosterone. It's this week's manly moment.
Manly moment.
Can't do it now. Shut it.
Let's finish this.
Absolutely love that movie. God, it's a classic. Street Fighter II, the animated movie. Hopefully I don't get a copyright strike for that one, but who knows? That's all part of the fun of what we do here. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome back to the channel. So with that kind of out of the way, let's start with actually a comment on one of my videos that was really a question. It was they were inquiring a little bit about how I actually, on the Raiden 2 countercade, how did I actually plug into the controller port on my PlayStation 1. So let's bring up that comment now. Joe Haro says, very nice work. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Looks awesome. It would be nice if you could explain a little bit more and how to connect the PlayStation controller controller to the PlayStation controller. Thank you for the video, sir. Thank you very much for commenting. So here's what you do. If you're going to make your own I guess if you're going to mod any kind of arcade, if you're going to make your arcade from scratch, you're going to have buttons, and you're going to have a way to interface with whatever kind of, whether it's a console, Raspberry Pi, Pandora's box. You got to figure out how you're going to really connect your inputs and outputs. So in the old days, with the original arcade, you would have a JAMA connection, which is a big harness with a lot of wires, and it would go to all the individual buttons. Well, now with all these, basically what they are, they're encoders, and you take your buttons, the old buttons, the same basic concept, the old buttons, the two-wire configuration, you bring that into what's called an encoder, and then once you have it in the encoder, you break it out to whatever you want. Usually, it's like a USB, but in this case, it's a PlayStation. So what you want to do is you want to go, and I have it here. I'll show you real quickly what this looks like. So you've got an encoder board here. This is pretty standard encoder board. But what you're looking for is the PlayStation connector, the PlayStation port. It's PlayStation. It's PS1, it's PS2. And then you can see that connection on the board there. If you go to Amazon, and I'll actually put a link, come back and check out this live stream on the replay. You'll see a link for this. I may even post it on the community page on the channel. This is what you're looking for here. You can just type in PlayStation encoder and this comes up. But you want to make sure that you have a couple things. First of all, obviously you want the plug itself, the port that actually plugs into the front of your PlayStation, and you want to make sure that it comes with the board, the encoder board itself, so you can plug that in. It's also going to come with a USB cable. So it's not, if you decide you don't want to stick with your PlayStation configuration, if you want to use a Raspberry Pi or something else, you're not stuck with this forever. You don't have to go buy another cable. It also comes with the USB. So you've got that option too. And on the breakout board, there are, you have your separate connections there. And then what you'll do is you just bring all your inputs in to the encoder board. And there you go. So here, again, this is the HAP configuration and then the Sanwa. So what they're really talking about here is your buttons are going to be the same. The wires, obviously, they're different colors, but the colors aren't important. The way that it connects to the joystick. So a Sanwa joystick is going to have this little ribbon cable looking thing here. That's going to plug. It's kind of similar to what you'll see on a stock arcade 1-up. You're not going to have all the individual wires with the with the newer arcade 1-ups, the original arcade 1-ups, each individual direction had its own wire pair, but this does not. So this would be for your Sanwa. So it's important to understand what joystick you're going to work with. So Sanwa or Hap. So there you go, sir. I hope, Joe, I hope that answers your question. Hope that sheds a little light on that. And best of luck to you, because it's really fun sort of taking maybe a console that you're not maybe really not using. You're not really playing it that much, and you want to incorporate that into an arcade project. It's really fun, and that cable is actually going to help you do that. So it's crucial. It's crucial. You've got to have it. You have to have it. Okay, so moving on to a couple other things. So let's. I got to start with. Let's start with the price gouging, for lack of a better term. I'm not sure exactly how else to describe it. Let's go to GameStop, and let's just see what what's going on today. So I posted a video last night. It was actually Unqualified Critics was the one that brought this to my attention. But if you go to the Arcade One, or you go to the GameStop website, type in Arcade 1-Up, you scroll down, you begin to see everything that you normally see. All the prices seem to be about the same. I wish some of these countercades would come down 150. It's just, man, that's really crazy. I think you could really bring that down, and guys like me would buy them up and mod the hell out of them. Besides, who knows what that side art's hiding? that's all part of it. If I'm not going to keep it stock, I can't wait to actually peel off those decals and see what's underneath there. But you're scrolling down, and we see there's the Marvel pinball machine. Okay, it's $5.99. We keep going down, and I tell you what, I missed out on this one. The Star Wars, man, I really wish that'd come. I hope that comes back, because I was kind of waiting on the the Star Wars trilogy, the arcade version that was made by Sega in the 90s. I don't know when that's going to come out, but in any event, so you keep scrolling down and you see, wait a minute, here's Marvel Pinball here, and here's Marvel Pinball here. This is $5.99. This is $7.99. What the hell's going on? Let's click on this. Maybe this is something. I had some people comment, well, this is actually just a placeholder for something else, something with a bigger screen and all that. Well, okay, but then why is it the same product picture? Then when you scroll down to the description here, it's the same 10 games. They came in the other one. They came in the original. You have the same exact description in the specifications, the same monitor, all that. All this is the same. $7.99. $7.99. So I had Tulsa Arcade actually commented on this video as well, and one thing they said is that the prices of everything's going up. So you got the price of the MDF is the one thing that they cited, and I thought, okay, fine, but I actually went to Home Depot today and I buy my MDF in 2 foot by 4 foot pieces. It's just easier for me to work with that, and if you buy a lot of MDF, it will absorb moisture like a sponge. And so you don't want to have a bunch of MDF just sitting around in your shop where it could get wet. It's going to swell and get damaged. So I buy it in smaller pieces like that. Just what amounts to a quarter of a sheet, 2 foot by 4 foot. The price of that went up $3 from 2 weeks ago. $3. Now you're talking about, I think I paid about $7.50. 2 weeks ago it was $11.50 this week. That's a huge jump. So I guess, my point is that is a valid point. It's a valid consideration, obviously. The MDF. Also, I work with plastics in the industry that I work with, and we know that resin is going up also. A lot of these plants in Texas being shut down because of all the power outages is really causing a lot of issues with that. So PVC pipe, that kind of stuff is taking a hit. Resin is going to be a huge thing in these arcade 1-ups. The new construction, not the machines that are already built, but the new ones that are going to be manufactured, could be the reason why we have some of these shortages. But none of this, okay, explains this price here. When you've pushed this release date out to November, and you have $800, and it's the same damn thing that we have now, there is absolutely no excuse for this, okay? Because the two they're not mutually exclusive, right? Okay, it's if you're going to have the high price tag, you expect the release date of tomorrow. Like, okay, it's really expensive now to produce this now, but because demand is high, you can expect this like next month. Order it now, get it in 2 weeks, that type of thing. You got to pay $800, but at least you get it now. not 800. And oh, by the way, you won't get it until late 21, almost 2022. That doesn't make any sense to me. It would make sense if this was a new product. It would make sense if this was a massive upgrade. It would make sense if you're going to a 32-inch screen, you're going to full 1080p, you're going to a larger games list. You're not getting any of that. You're just getting the same damn thing you're already getting now, and you're going to pay $200 less. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how they can justify this. And let's say this is wrong. Let's say this is completely wrong. Let's go back up here. I just want to see if this thing is, yeah, see, it's not even available either. But let's say that this is just wrong, okay? It's just a mistake. It's GameStop's mistake. Why is Arcade 1-Up not all over this? I mean, like white on rice. Calling them up, hey, get that off your website. What are you doing? Why are you saying this? Why are you putting this out there? Make the 7 a 5. I mean, if that's all it is, you have to stay on top of this stuff. Because at this point, when you go to their when you go to Arcade 1-Up's Facebook, Twitter, and all that, they're just it's light, fluffy stuff, and that's fine. But they're not giving you any information. They're not pushing out hard release dates. They're not letting us know what the problem is. Why are we not getting this? Why are we not getting that? What's the issue? What's the problem? You're not getting any good information. You're just getting pictures of people's game rooms, which is great. They're happy with their fans. They're happy with their customers buying their stuff. But what about this install base that you have now? Fans, for lack of a better term, not just customers. We're fans of what you're doing. Why are you not keeping us informed? So this is just insane. This is insane. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to be Mr. Doom and Gloom. When I see this, like, what are we to expect? The same thing, but $200 more expensive. Why? What is the reason? If we saw this packaged with something, I don't know. I mean, $200, you're going to get 4 stools. I mean, you're going to get gold-plated legs. Not chrome, but actual gold. Yeah, that's maybe, but I don't understand that, and it just does nothing but confuse people. And it, it's not like let's hurry up and buy this one at 5. No, you can't even buy this one. And bear in mind, this is a product now that is not that highly rated. If you go to their score, look at you got the it's either you're hot or cold, right? It's either 5s or 1s, and then you've got the stuff in the middle, but you get 4 3s, but you have more than double the amount of 5s you have 1s. And it's kind of disturbing. So, it's one of those things, I guess you love it or hate it. Cool machine. So right off the bat, this guy, whoever this guy is being complimentary of the product. Cool machine, but be aware of quality control issues. The machine stopped working after about a week of use. Black playfield, blue screen of death. Where have we heard this before? Unqualified Critics actually has the same issue. Does not work. Look at this guy. I had high hopes for this product. Unfortunately, it arrived dead on arrival. I don't think he's talking about that the PlayStation 2 game or the Dreamcast Classic fighting game. I don't think he's talking about that. I think he's talking about the state of his arcade machine, his pinball machine, dead on arrival. And you have to troubleshoot via email. Well, see, this is another thing. When you get something that you paid all this money for, the guy paid $5.99 for it, let's assume, okay? Maybe he had a coupon and he saved $20, but he paid $500-$600 for this thing and he gets it. Now he's on the hook for doing the troubleshooting with an Arcade 1-Up tech on the phone. Okay, well, open this up and get a meter. Do you have a meter? I don't have a meter. I mean, what are you doing? I bought this thing not to work on it, but to have it, be functional. And it's so that's just incredibly frustrating. I know several other people who also ordered the product and it did not work. So this guy is also speaking for others. And that's another thing. Some people just get pissed off and they don't even bother to leave a comment or a rating. There's nothing easy about the machine. I did not get to play one game. He didn't even get it. He didn't even get to play the game. He's got nothing but, for his $600, nothing but frustration. Stay away and build your own is what he's saying. We have a modder. And then we have the 5 stars to say, could get Star Wars, so he settled for the Marvel and he loves it, So I think that's great. I'm glad that it's not all gloom and doom, but there's a lot of bad reporting out there, and there's more negative than positive. So you've got a product that's already waning, in my opinion, and we can take this machine, this 2.5-star machine, and you can expect to pay more, kids. you can expect to pay $200 more, and that's just ridiculous. It's completely insane. So, but that's enough of me jaw-jacking about that. I think it's just I'm kind of stating the obvious here. Let's go to the chat, say hi to everybody. What is going on, peeps? What is going on? Okay, I'm here, so you can all sit comfortably. Thank you, Art Jimmy Dragon. Appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by, man. Hey, Bill, what's up, man? Hey, K Fox, hoping you have a great live chat tonight. Awesome work putting. Oh, thanks, I appreciate it. Having some challenges, a bit. Having some challenges with coming up with a slick way to fix some of the issues on this Midway Legacy. Is making your own cab more expensive than buying or modding? It depends if you have the tools. The tools are always going to be the thing, right? The tools is that's what's really going to get you. If you're talking about building one from scratch, go to Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, whatever your favorite store of choice is. Buy the material, and there you go. You have to have saws and drills and all these things. You have to have if you want to get the quality, if you want to have a certain level of quality, if you want to have T-molding, okay, let's just say T-molding. T-molding is going to necessitate a router. It's going to necessitate a hold on just 1 second, peeps. Stand by. Okay. All right. So, yeah. So what you can do is you're going to have a router. You're going to have a router bit. You're going to, and that costs money. That's very expensive. Just the bit itself, you're looking at, let me get that coming back to focus. You're going to have, I mean, that's like $20, $25, $30. So, yeah. So that's just the bit. The router itself is very expensive. So that's what gets you, not the materials, not the materials themselves. The material themselves is really not that expensive. It's just having the tools and having the know-how to get that done. So I think for the money, it's probably better to start with like an arcade one-up, a reasonably priced arcade one-up, not an $800 pinball machine. We're not talking about that. We're talking about something that's a couple $100, $300, maybe $400. But you have to be realistic with what you're trying to accomplish. What are you trying to build? If you want to build a 6-player fighting cabinet that's going to run MAME or a Pandora's box or a Raspberry Pi, you've got several different options with Arcade 1-Up, and they're ready to go. Most of the work is done for you. So you've got the monitor, you've got the fighting game with the 6-button layout. It's already ready to go. So really, all you have to do is just some wiring for your I/O. And then you're going to have an HDMI breakout board for the monitor. And if you're happy with the artwork that comes on the arcade that you just bought, you're good. You're fine. And then you're looking at the price of the machine plus $100, depending on what you got. If you've got an arcade machine kicking around somewhere, then it's going to be what you got to have a realistic end goal. What are you really trying to achieve? Calculate that cost to get there, and then see where that breaks out. But it's usually better to start with something existing, as far as money wise. Start with something existing and then build off that. Definitely. Price of everything going up except our paychecks. That's the one thing that never goes up, right? Kev Gret? Never. Hail, Makini 90. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. OneUp has given us all communication with its customers. Customer has given up. Oh, given up on. Yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating for sure. So, at $4.99, it was a pass for the quality, and $7.99, it's a heel no. Red Sea Gaming says heel no. $7.99. I'm not paying $7.99 for anything that Arcade 1UP puts out. I mean, look at everything they've done. Think of your ideal games list. Think of the best cabinet they have. Put in the best games you can possibly imagine. Let's say it's 100 games. Are you gonna pay $7.99? I paid $500 for that. $4.99 for my Marvel vs. Capcom, which is some of the best games some of my most favorite games. Are you gonna take that? $4.99? Add $300 to it and justify that with what? I mean, because that came with a stool. So how I mean, it's a lit marquee, all that. So how are you going to justify that? What games list you're gonna? I just don't see it, man. I don't see it unless there's some new product they come out with. But even that, I just don't. You're getting too close to the price of the real thing. if you can go on Craigslist or you can go on Facebook Marketplace and you can find something local for $1,000, why wouldn't you just do that? And it's the real thing, other than you're trying to save weight and all that. So it's I just don't. Yeah, 2.3 stars. I know. I'm with you. Let's all get together and just create our own brand of cabinets with the best quality stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we do. That's what the community was sort of forced to do for the longest time. If you weren't doing a full-on restoration, you were building your own cabinets. It started for me probably 10 years ago, maybe. I think, where I noticed a shift. CRT monitors were getting so hard to find, and it's kind of scary to work on them if you don't know what you're doing. And finding people to service these monitors was getting tough. There was a guy local that I use at Shut Up Shop, so the big transition began already. It's like, okay, we're going to switch to LCD monitors. We're going to get rid of these tubes, and we're going to find ways to do that. And that's where it kind of started for me. And then once you get past that point, you're losing some authenticity. Okay, so what else am I willing to sacrifice? Well, does it have to be 3/4 inch MDF? Does it have to be this big? I mean, listen, it's 300 pounds, 400 pounds. Man, is there anything we can do to drop this down? And you start saying, okay, we can make these concessions. Then when you have these arcade one-ups show up, it's like, there you go. And then it's like, man, all I have to worry about is, what games am I going to get on this thing, and I'm good to go. That's my only concern. And then just you bring it home and a screwdriver and you put it together, and it's great. So for me, that's where all this sort of started. I'm a cheap bastard. Welcome to the club. At 200, it is a hell no anyway about that. And you will hear me say, I'm not sure what that means. I think it's a Canadian thing. The price should not even go over 150. I disagree with that. I think you can expect. I mean, look at what you're getting. You're getting a big piece of furniture, custom made to a license that they had to pay for. I don't mind that. It's less than a PlayStation 5. So I think that the price for the most part is justified when you're talking about $399, but $599 for the pinball machine, which is a massive compromise from where you're going to. I mean, think about the comparison between a full-size arcade machine and one of these arcade one-ups. Set them side by side. Think about what are you really compromising. I think the only thing really is space, and you're losing that CRT just effect, right? You can't really mimic that. You can try, but you really can't do it. But some would say that's a good thing, because the CRT, it's got you in the nostalgia, right? The member berries, but it doesn't have you in the quality. So that's when you compare that to, now you do that same comparison, but with the pinball machine. Look at the difference. Look at all the mechanics in a real pinball machine. The glass top, the overall size. I mean, think of that. Think of what are you giving up to get your digital pinball machine? You're giving up a lot. You're giving up a lot of moving parts and mechanical pieces, and it's a huge jump to go from that to virtual pinball. So I think it's tougher to justify. In my mind, it's tougher to justify that. But that's just my opinion. So much for increased QC. Yeah, no kidding. Quality control, non-existent. Have to get risers and potentially mod it for bigger monitors, chipset, or more games. Yeah, exactly. What's up, Crafty? I stayed away from this product simply because of the 720p. Exactly. The flippers look like hacksaws. I've heard that these the haptic feedback, the solenoids, are good until they're not. The thing about a solenoid is it either works or it doesn't. And when it doesn't, you really, I think that loses a lot, because there is no more beating and banging and clanging. You don't have the ball physically rolling on anything. So you're losing a lot of that tactile feel. So those solenoids, I think, are much more important than I think we realize until you're standing in front of the thing. So let's see, let's go. M Tucker. Okay, where did you come up with the name 19K Fox? So 19K is my MOS. I was in the Army for 4 years. So 19 kilo, and then Fox is a part of my name, my last name. So 19K Fox was born. I had it, I think I joined YouTube in 2006. Didn't have a channel forever. I didn't think about having a channel. I just wanted to be able to comment on other channels and talk about stuff. So the video, me making videos is just kind of a recent thing. I say recent. It's probably been over a year now. But yeah, so that's where the name kind of came from. So yeah, it's my MOS and then a part of my last name. Hua. I would pay $1,500 if the pinball had every upgrade with all the games, like Cool Toy did. You mean that 32-inch upgrade that he did? Because that was pretty slick. That was pretty slick. I like that. I really like that. I think Arcade went up a bit off more than they could chew with the pinball. I think you might be right, Red Sea. They should have had their QC with the cabs 100% before jumping into. I think you're right. What I'm starting to theorize. This is just me and my little brain and my little world, right? I don't know anybody in Arcade One, but here's what I think. I think if you look at the pinball games, I think you look at the pub table, some of these other things, the Pong, I think they don't have all the licensing lined up that they want yet. I don't know that they have all those big marquee titles that they want. The marquee titles that would justify a cabinet, right? So what else do we got? Well, we got Pong. Okay, well, how many variants of Pong can we have? We make fun of them for Pac-Man. How many variants of Pac-Man? I think they locked up Pac-Man. Okay, we got that. We got old Atari games. Great. Let's milk these for just as long as we can. And while we're doing that, we're buying time to get these better licenses, the big marquee titles. You know, I think that if they wanted to have Street Fighter 4 or Street Fighter, whatever, I mean, if they wanted to have the latest and greatest version of you name it game, arcade game, I think that they would do it. I think that you could justify it, but I don't think they have the licensing. We can talk about the hardware all day long, but I think you get a different chipset and you run that game, emulated to perfection. I think people are going to pay the money. You know it. I mean, they're getting us older guys with the older games, but there is a younger crowd there too that also enjoys these, and I think that there is a market there. So I think they maybe had jumped into the pinball a little bit. Maybe they leaned into it some because they had that relationship with Zen, and I knew they could get this. Let's get this going and get this out there as another product line, and then we can sort of develop that as we get that license. As they had to sort of prove that the business was out there, right? Prove that people would buy this stuff, and then they can develop it. You know, we saw this with the cabs, and that's the thing. With the cabinets, we saw this. We saw a clear Generation 1, a muddled Generation 2. It was kind of, you almost want to group those two together. But then you had the Generation 3 was a clear leap forward. You had the monitor laying back a little bit more. You had the speakers up top where they should be. You had a better control deck for them. I mean, it was fairly similar, but the wiring was different. The buttons, the way if you broke into these things, the way their connections are made were much better. So you saw these upgrades, and it was incremental, and it made sense. All right, here we go. I like this. Here we go. I think we should. They haven't given me a reason why we shouldn't expect the same sort of progression with the pinball games. You get the pinball games, and then okay, the first one's bare bones, maybe it's a little rough, but then we continue to build on that, and then we have not a wave, but a true generation 2, where we have 27-inch monitors, but we don't have 1080p yet. Well, then now Gen 3, we have 1080p. We have full HD. We're running at 60 frames nonstop. We're not dropping. We're not lagging. It looks as good as the game that you played on your PlayStation 3, which is not that big of a stretch when you think about it. The PlayStation 3 has been obsolete for a while. It was 2 consoles back, right, or 2 console generations back. So I don't think we're asking for too much. So anyway, yeah, that was my long way of saying I agree. What's up, Kong or us? How are you doing? Kong are you? Kong are we? Let me scroll down a little bit more. Steve, what's up? Hey, B. Hi, B. And Mrs. B. Well, hello, everyone. Hello, the bees. The bees are here. Oh, wow. Jeff with Super Chat. Hi. Love your channel. Man, thank you so much. Appreciate it. I saw your Countercade V2 video with the hidden side artwork. I have white backgrounds. LOL. Thanks. Yeah, it's man, I'll tell you what, it's something. So I just did another video where, of course, I'm working on my second project, and sure as crap, I got a whole different freaking arts, a whole different side art than the other two. So on this one, I had two separate ones. On that one, same thing. So it's I got to give him points, I guess, for mixing it up. I don't know, but like I said, I love the thought of this guy running around trying to hurry up and say, oh, what are we gonna do? Galaga seems to be selling. I don't know, slap it on there, and then Galaga drops to $50. Who knows? Thank you so much for the super chat, and let me hit you with Iron Man.
Let's lock and load. Target acquired. Knockout cannon. Here's the big one. Knockout cannon. Unlock power inhibitor. Iron Avenger. Lock and load. Incredible.
Incredible indeed. Thank you so much for the super chat. Okay, I would think a real pinball machine would be more because of all the moving parts. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, well, you justify paying that. That's what I meant by the leap from that to a digital pinball machine is a bigger leap in my mind than one of these arcade cabs. Oh, you're very welcome. No, thank you. It's an honor and a privilege. Better men and women than me have served as well. Foxtrot. Whoop. Exactly. So while I got everybody here, while I got you all here, got to talk about something that popped out today. Check this out. Our good buddy, let me share my screen with you here. And I'm sure that he won't mind if we take a look at his video. So the third floor arcade with Jason. This guy buys everything. He's got a great channel. He gets them as soon as they come out. He's got the Pong table. I've got this thing muted. Let's blow it up and let's just take a quick look because there's some things on here we really have to discuss. So, he makes a lot of comments about how this thing is heavy. So I kind of liked that because you could see how this could be really flimsy. And he talks about how, he's really enjoying it. But when we go to the top here, now this is what something I want to bring up. And he mentioned too, the fact that the screw heads are kind of exposed. You'll see the same thing on, you're going to see the same thing on the side of like a countercade or your arcade one-ups, your full size. Well, sorry, not your full size, your 3/4 scale. You see that. Now, here's my issue. Here's why I have a problem with this. First of all, they told us, John D said, this is going to be plexiglass. Okay, it's not. Jason, in his video, says that this is that Arcade One of us put some kind of a coating on here, a clear coat. Okay, fine. Here's my problem. Whenever I was trying to take off this decal on the side, I used a damp cloth, a wet rag, right, to kind of get some of that paper off, and it was coming off okay. The problem is in these little circles, right here. I think you can see my mouse cursor there. In that little recess where the screw is, that's just raw exposed MDF. And now what we just talked about, that stuff will soak up moisture like a sponge. It will soak it up like a sponge. And so the problem is that while the wood may be protected and maybe the artwork is protected somewhat. Now we know the screen has got a big piece of plexi on that, so thank God for that. At least, right? It's like the bare minimum. I don't think that if you have a little spill, or even if you have a glass there with some condensation, let's say you're drinking some bourbon, and you're having a great time, and you're playing your Pong, and everybody's having a good time. And just to be fair, some of the gameplay I saw on this was actually pretty cool. I liked that I think it was Warlords. It was a 4-player game. That was cool. Yeah, I could see a very casual setting, everybody hanging out. Maybe there's a pool table in your game room or something. You got this off to the side, and 4 people could just sit there and play this. That was cool. I'm not going to totally knock this thing, but I am telling you for a fact, if you get water in that hole, and it's going to sit there because now we're looking at a totally flat surface. You're going to have your glass there. Whether you spill it or not, the condensation gets in that hole. It's going to cause a problem. This is going to swell. That's what it does. The moisture gets in there. It's going to swell. You can take it to the bank. It's going to swell up, and it's going to bubble the graphic there, and it's just going to create problems. And then the MDF underneath is going to get soft, and then I think you're going to lean on this, and it's going to start to give a little bit. You can also see the seam in the middle. I understand to package this thing and get it in a box. You want to have a seam in the middle. You don't want to have this giant circle. I guess I get that, but they should have tried really freaking hard to make this a single circle. you know, whether you have to package it differently or charge more for shipping or something, I think that it would have been better if this was one big piece, one big circle, and then you have to come up with a different way, I think, to fasten this also to the legs underneath. Similar to like a tabletop, when you buy actual furniture and you go to the store and you get a small table, you can order a small table off Amazon too, and the top is one piece. Whether they had to reduce the size a little bit, I don't know, but I think that's also going to be an issue too. Having the seam not be an issue over time. I think organically, I think if you're just sitting there and you're resting a hand, I think you're gonna feel that it's gonna be an issue and a problem. We see the same thing with our Midway and Capcom Legacy cabinets, where you've got that seam and you've got that, it's a 1/4 inch, an 1/8 inch, ridge there, and that's a problem when you're gaming. Your gaming sessions may not be that intense here. I noticed that the seam is actually on the player 3 and 4 positions, not the player 1 and 2. So, I mean, that does make sense. If you're going to put that anywhere, fine. But I'm not a big fan of that seam there. So, for a tabletop, it needs to be as smooth as possible with as little penetrations as possible. I mean, at least with the counter case, or not the counter case, but the cocktail cabinets, you had a big piece of, Lexan on top, plexi on top, and then your hands were underneath. So that form factor lends itself a little bit better to that. But still, this is, I don't know, man. This is something that maybe if you had to construct this, you have, but then again, you're going to have a seam. If you do plexiglass at the same dimensions, you'd have that same seam. So maybe you would offset the seam. Not exactly sure. But anyway, I think this is going to be something that's not going to last over time. But anyway, if you're a fan of arcade one-ups, definitely go check out Jason's channel. He's got a great channel. Like I said, he's the guy that's going to have it all. He really is. He gets you're like, man, what the hell? His channel is called the Third Floor Arcade. He must have a third floor that's just an arcade. So I mean, it put most of us to shame. But yeah, so I don't know. I think that there's not a big draw for me. It's Pong. It's an old game. I think that's going too far back for that form factor. But I think if you had some different party games like that, that could work. That could work. But I think there has to be some different games. Maybe even some unique games that maybe Arcade 1-Up doesn't develop the software, doesn't develop the games in-house. So maybe they purchase those from some other like app developer or game developer for iOS devices or something. If they could do that. I don't know. I think it's something they should explore though, because then you can get a diverse gameplay. So you can have maybe some staples, like maybe, Pong is your, it's weird to call that a marquee title, but I get it. I get the association there, but still, Pong is not a system seller to me. I don't know. I mean, I think the form factor is cool. That's the seller, not the Pong name. It's the form factor. That's unique. But I don't know. But anyway, so could it be something else? Could it be Fruit Ninja? That would be a touchscreen, so maybe not. But I don't know, something different, something along those lines. But anyway, those are the concerns that I saw. Check out the other reviews out there. I will not be getting one, but check out the reviews out there and see if anybody else mentions that. I'm telling you, condensation from a glass will kill that table. I'm just saying, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. 8-Bit says, I think Arcade 1-Up has become complacent with just selling a product like any other store, and it doesn't work. And if it doesn't work or it breaks, it's your problem. Give up on customer service. I hope that's not the case, but with what I've heard from other people, I think that you're not totally off base. I can't imagine they've completely abandoned customer service. How could you? But some of the things that I've heard are not good. Now, I will say that Unqualified Critics, with his pinball arcade or his pinball machine issues, he was able to get some response from Arcade 1-Up. So that's good. He did acknowledge, hey, I've got a big YouTube channel. Maybe that's what it is. Okay, that's, I think it's fair. But I don't know. It's disappointing for sure. Luckily, I'm sort of, there's not a lot of problems that I can't fix unless it's just a bad component. And then that's the problem. I think I can get in there and troubleshoot, an I/O issue, some kind of wire connection. If physically something's broken or cracked, I can make a repair. But when it comes to a bad screen, if it comes to a PCB's fried, then you're on the hook. Then you're really waiting for them. And I think that's one of the issues that I'm kind of freaking out about when it comes to these pinball machines. When I'm looking forward, I'm thinking about my Killer Instinct cab that I've just got to have. I got to have it. Those are massive catastrophic failures on these pinball machines. I know it's a different form factor, but you're basically doing the same thing you're doing with the stand-up. It's a monitor and a PCB and I/O. That's really it. That stuff should be fairly straightforward. That stuff should go out, without a hiccup. I mean, it either kind of passes or fails, before it goes out. So I'm not sure why they're having those issues. And I think some of the other comments in this stream have been quality control not being an issue. Well, it's possible. It's very possible. And if that is an issue, that's going to be a systemic problem within their entire organization. It's not just going to be limited to the pinball. It's not like there's like pinball guys that are like, whatever. And they're clocking out early and they're having smoke breaks and they're calling in sick and they're not doing anything. And then on Friday, they got to slap them together. I think it's the whole company. So not make fun of. It's like they got like this assembly line. It's just the pinball machines and the arcades over here, and they're looking at them like, oh God, they have such bad workmanship. It's horrible. Enter like all these issues and problems, and they're fighting with each other. But no, I think it's if that's a problem. If QC is a problem, it's going to be a problem company wide. You have to have a big emphasis on that. Checking in from Chicago. What's up, man? How you doing, brother? Good to see you. John Phillips. Chicago. How's you doing up there? You getting is it chilly up there? It's chilly here in Cincinnati for sure. Love Jason's review of Pong. Did a great job. He does a great job because he actually gets in there and shows you what's going on, shows you a little gameplay and all that. Any liquids hit those spinners, holes, etc., and it's game over. Game over in a bad way because you can't just restart. You ain't put another quarter in and calling it good. It's bad. Breaking news. RK1UP just raised the price of the Pong table to $1,000 because you're talking about it now. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry about it. At least it's not $1,000. At least it's only $99.99 or $999.99. Yeah. So I'm I shouldn't. Let's knock on wood. It's probably good. Well, it's going up $1,500. No, that's not good. That's not good. It seems RK1UP is getting more expensive, but the way they're building the machines is getting cheaper. You're not wrong there. So here's my issue. With what I've seen with my beautiful little first gen and all of its little issues and quirks, I modified that thing extensively, made new control panels, all that stuff, right? And seeing that and then seeing the progression to the third generation, I saw nothing but improvement. From first to third gen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I saw nothing but improvement. I didn't see a big reduction in quality. I saw an increase in quality. I didn't see like a thinner, cheaper, crappier materials. I saw better materials. I've seen better and thicker materials. Like the deck protector on the Ninja Turtles cabinet is thinner than the one used on the MVC cabinet. I mean, I broke that thing with just putting it in by hand. I mean, just cracked, splintered. It's horrible. Didn't have that with this one here. And obviously I was more cognizant of it, but when you examine the two, they are different. They're just a little bit thicker on the newer cabinets. So I've seen a progression, a moving up. But then when you get to the legacy cabs, the design choices, I'm not talking about software because all that was great. In my review, the games list is good. I'm not a big Midway fan. Some of the games I'm like, why? To have Paperboy on there and not have a good way to control that. I mean, take it or leave it. Maybe you're having a great experience with Paperboy, but the way you control that is not ideal at all. So you don't enjoy it. So you don't play it. So it's almost like a game you just check off. It's like, well, that one doesn't even count. But they have included more games. The menu is awesome. I love the layout. The screen is just cleaner, crisper, and sharper. All the little quirks, the little sounds, the little things, the tones, the difficulty settings, the scan lines, all this stuff is great, right? And then you move to the exterior and I said this in my review, every decision that was made, every change that was made from the third generation to the legacy cabinet, physically, every physical change was wrong. And I'll stand by that all day long. Everything they did was wrong. Everything they did was to try to get an aesthetic or to get it to look a certain way. And every single change was at the detriment of the player. It was at the detriment of the experience. Perfect example. I did some experimenting today with the Midway Legacy to get this. I'm 6'1", okay? To get this thing to a point where I can stand up and play and see the entire play field, not the entire monitor mount, okay? So there's dead space on every arcade one-up from the top of the play field, of the actual screen itself, that upper bezel, right? I'm not counting that. I can't see, to get this thing up to where I can't see any of that, but I can see all of the actual playfield, the screen itself, the part that is illuminated. I got to raise that thing 3.5 inches. You know how goofy that looks when sitting next to two other cabinets. Two other cabinets that I can see just fine. I can stand up and I can play those two and I can see everything just fine. Not a problem. Not a problem. So now what do? What am I going to do? Am I going to make a 3.5 inch riser or 4 inch riser to get that thing up comfortable to where I like it? And now it's taller than everything else. Is that the end of the world? No, it's not. But if I like uniformity within my entire, game room, my whole arcade, my little setup here, I want everything sort of to be the same height. If something is an inch taller, okay. But if it's 3 and 4 inches taller, that's a crazy difference. It's going to look out of place. It's going to look like it's a different brand. Like, who made that one? Is that somebody made that one? Did you make that on your own? No, it's freaking from the same company. To drive that point home, as far as uniformity, my bar top that I had forever, I made a riser for that to match the height of the arcade one-ups on risers, so that I can set it next to all my arcade one-ups and they're all the same height. This thing, 4 inches taller than everything else. It's like, why? Why did they have to do that? Why did they? Because they wanted to look. I don't know. I don't know why the hell else they would do that. There's no other reason why they would have done that. So every physical change was a bad idea. All of it. All of it. All of it was wrong. All of it was wrong. So let's go to some of my specific examples. I know you're going to say, oh, Fox, you're just complaining. What the hell? God, you can't make anybody happy. Here's the thing. So we talked about, I'm going to build a nice riser with some T-molding, and I'm going to have a riser that's bigger than the riser. My riser is going to have a riser. So I'm going to have a riser, 4 inch, 3.5. I'm going to have a riser. The stock riser is going to sit in that. Okay. So it's going to have red T-molding, and then my riser has the fake T-molding from arcade. And then you're going to have the damn arcade sitting on that. So like Legos, right? I'm stacking this thing up. But so the control panel is my other issue, right? Big problem. So other people, I think 8-Bit did this where he just lifted that up and he got it flush with the top, and then he raised those J blocks up, and there you go. But I want more real estate too. So I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm going to actually I want to put this up on top of the side panels, like the first generation, the second and third generation. I want to do that. I want to mimic that. So I started down that path. Here we go. Here's a small little piece of MDF to sort of illustrate my point. Because of this massive radius, and this is a big bend. This is not just it's a sharp bend. It's a gradual rise. So this is, and I'll give you another angle. If I want to keep this flat, I can only get to there. I can only get to, that's probably in total from the upright portion, you're probably looking at 1.5 inches total. So if I want to keep this thing flat, I can only go that far. So I can either have, when I raise this whole control panel up, it's going to be at this elevation. Do I want to have that there like that? Or do I want to have it tight up against this upright here? So if I move that in, that's more of where I want it, right? Kind of tight up against the big upright. So that's a smooth transition. But here's the problem. Look at the side view. So if you take a flat piece, which this is mimicking, the control panel, a flat control panel, I'd be at an angle. And I'd have this gap down here that I got to worry about fixing. This is another way to sort of illustrate that radius there. See that curve up? That's a nice gradual curve. So what do you do there? I think that what I can do is I make my control panel, and then I only have to worry about 1/2 inch on either side, where I'm going to have to contend with that radius. So the problem though is that to have that curve, you're going to have to take your control panel, stand it up on its side, and sort of route that, or you can't really jigsaw that because your depth would be all messed up. You have to get your router bit and set that for like 1/2 inch thick, and then you got you have to, I guess, take this and trace this, right? Trace that angle, and then take your router and just run that through and sort of hollow that portion out a half inch deep or 3/4 of an inch deep if you want to have a little bit of an overhang, which is kind of what I'm thinking about doing. Just a little bit of an overhang because it's not quite flush on the third gen. So if you have a little bit of an overhang, now you got 3/4 of an inch deep. You got to get in there, kind of route that to make that fit nice. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. No, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to freaking get that, but have it flat like that. I'm going to try to get the best of both worlds. But unfortunately, it's not going to be as simple as tracing out a flat shape and putting it on and you're done. I wanted to take those J blocks, similar to what the 8-bit and others have done, take those J blocks and move it all the way up flush so I have an additional flat surface. I still want to be able to bolt this thing down, but the main benefit of doing this is that the whole thing sits on your side panels. Sits on the side panels, and that's where your support comes. The bolts just kind of keep it from shifting. So you would bring that up, and there you go. It's not going to be easy because of that. And here's the thing. I don't want to cut into the Arcade 1-Up side panel. I don't want to peel off the red tape. I don't want to do anything. I want to keep that totally stock because these modifications ideally would not alter the legacy cabinet in any way. I could take the stock control panel and I could just unbolt that and set it off to the side and put my new control panel in its place. And if I ever wanted to, I don't know, sell it or move it or put it back to stock or whatever, I could just unbolt this and put this in. Take those J blocks and lower those back down, stock location, and then put this thing back in place, and there it is. If I just want to retain the stock appearance, I could do that. So that's what I'm trying to. So it's not going to be as simple as, okay, just pick a shape and there you go. It's going to be a little bit difficult than that. So, but anyway, that's some of the challenges that you're going to face if you're coming to that point. If you're trying to just make a control deck that you can swap out. It was easy. Not easy, but it was easier. I mean, it was doable. You just had a flat plane to contend with on the first through third gen cabs. It was just simpler, much easier. Oh, I'm sorry, the chat has jumped on me just a little bit. So here we go. I took the light up marquee off my legacy cab today and had to scrap the stock logo off. Oh, scrape the stock logo off. It's not a sticker anymore. Really? It's some cheap paper. Oh no, paper held on with glue with the Scotch tape film over and out. Oh, that sucks, dude. Yeah, with my Marvel vs. Capcom, it's it's vinyl. It's transparent vinyl. You're saying it's paper now? Oh God, that's good. I shudder to think of that because what that's a cheap vinyl. It's a cheap sticker. The same stuff they're slapping on these countercades that I'm fighting to peel off. I used a heat gun, and I wouldn't recommend you do that because you got a transparent back. I'm assuming that's like I haven't taken mine apart, but I'm assuming it's like a polycarbonate backing there. That sucks. Perfect. Smoke that good. Exactly. Fox, do us all a favor and look up RK1 Tastemaster LLC on the BBB, on the Better Business Bureau, and be prepared to brace yourself. It comes down to money. The link to the deck protector for the TMNT. Give me just 1 second. Better Business Bureau, for those of you who are not in the States, is a way to sort of check the status of a business to see if they're in good standing or not. I'm looking this up while we on just 1 second, kids. No, come on, not okay. It's asking me for that. Don't do near. Let me try that. It was asking me if I wanted someplace near. For best results. Okay. Let me hit no thanks. Better business credit only. Sorry, just going through this, guys. Let me try this again. No thanks. I'm not finding it. I must be. Hold on. Let me back up here. I apologize, guys. I'm thinking this is going to be. I don't know. I'm not getting anything. Let me do. Here we go. It just popped up. Yeah. Okay, I got you. Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go, kids. Let's share this screen. The Better Business Bureau has spoken. Oh crap, where'd it go? Sorry. I shared the wrong one. Let me share the right one. The right one would help. Come on, Fox. The right one would help. Where's it at? Better Business Bureau, social. Okay, here we go. This should be it. Okay. Wow. Customer reviews. 2.33. An F. This business is not BBB accredited. Really? Wow. It's an LLC. 61 complaints closed in the last 3 years. 38 complaints closed in the last 12 months. Read review? Let's just read. So what is this? Okay, 5 stars. Bought a centipede cabinet in September, and I'm assuming he's happy. This company has had the worst customer service. I placed a ticket with RK1 4 months ago. Okay, so that's not good. Hard time talking to a live person. Okay, 5 months plus to get a return. Wow. Okay, well that's not good. that's not good. Crafty, thanks for bringing that to our attention, man. Appreciate it. MG Legacy was designed to hit $3.99 mass production. They just should have. Why not just keep it the stock style? You didn't have to change it up. They didn't. They did not have to change that up whatsoever. I don't know why. Wear knee pads for legacy cabs. Yeah, you have to sit down. The way it sits now, you have to sit. You got to have a stool. I went to Harbor Freight, got one of those flame stools. I got this because I was so mad. I got one of these for $35. Here in the States, there's a company called Harbor Freight. They have cheap stuff. That's one of the cheap things. It's a stool. It swivels. So that's what I'm using for that. The flames kind of goes with the Mortal Kombat. So anyway, yeah, wear knee pads, exactly. Sounds like you will have to make your own risers. I'm going to have to. And others have done the same thing. Hey, there he is, the man of the hour. Hey, Fox, totally agree. We need some riser extension for legacy cabs. Sir, I did peep your video. I just want to let you know, give you full credit for that one. We loved your review of the Pong pub table. Interesting to see what they do in the future. I did note, and I think you said something in your review about exposed screws. Listen, man, if you get any kind of condensation or water in there, I think it's going to hold, because it's basically a cup, and that's raw exposed MDF. And I think you're going to get, that's going to swell if it gets wet. So they should definitely have some plugs. Maybe hit eBay up and get some of those up. Well, they have to be white, though, don't they? I think those ones for the RK1-ups are black. I don't know. See what you can do. Curve the 1/2 inch. Yeah. Well, curve a lot. Bullet Bourbon, or it's Jim Beam Rye tonight. It's just a cheaper, but it's a good smooth bourbon. The Bullet, yes, is a gift for my son. It's a pretty cool cup. It is my sipping glass. Had to drench it in goo, be gone, and yeah, that's what. But the thing is, though, be careful because you can't really see because I decaled over mine. And I kind of let it dry out and sanded it. When I did that, it kind of bubbled up and swelled. So I had to sand it smooth. So just be cautious with that. It does come off pretty. It helps coming off that way, but just be careful. I took the sticker off of my Galaga marquee. And whoa, damn! Really? I guess they accidentally made 31. That's what happened. It was 30. Oh, damn. Galaga. That would be hysterical. That would be awesome. Yeah, I'm a boomer. Same score as the Marvel pinball on GameStop. You see that correlation, do you? I noticed that too, Crafty. Not the flame stool. Come on, of course the flame stool. It's the hot seat. You get it? You see what I did there? That was clever, wasn't it? That was so clever. The swivel, yeah, the swivel is awesome. The swivel is awesome. The Harbor Freight stool is a swivel. Yeah, it actually swivels. It actually swivels. It is a swivel mount. It's $35, and it swivels. Look at that. What? Mind blown, kids. Fire up. I'm fired up. Yeah, so one more thing before we go. I got to show this to you real quick. So I talked about this last night. Also, share the screen. Go to the tab. Don't be a boomer this time. Boom. Here we go. Okay, so right now, currently, Miss Pac-Man is $3.19. Let's refresh this just to make sure we have the what. Okay, all right, there it is. I'm like, what was it? It's still, let's make sure it's still available. I think it still is. Okay, you can still add it to your cart. It's $3.19. If you have not played some of the games on this, go to YouTube and type in, we all know what Galaxian is, but Pac-Mania and Pac-Man Plus. These are two really good versions of Pac-Man that change it up. Pac-Mania is like a three-dimensional Pac-Man, and then Pac-Man Plus is just, it's got different, it changes up every board, so it's a really cool sort of take on Pac-Man. And then Miss Pac-Man would be the more traditional Pac-Man, except with the bow. But, you know, if you're looking for something different, this is obviously a very different color scheme. If you want to change up your arcade, your room, if you've got maybe a daughter or nieces or maybe something for your wife, it's pink, and girls like pink, right? That's what they told me. But anyway, yeah, $3.19. I think it's a pretty good price. I think I've got one in my cart right now. I keep an eye on it, kids. This thing may fall a little bit more, but I don't know. I think it, when we get into the 200s, $2.99, $2.75-ish, I think these things, I think anybody on the fence is going to go ahead and buy it up. It doesn't come with a lit marquee, so you have that to contend with. But it comes with a riser, so you get the matching riser, which looks pretty good. So if you've been on the fence about that one, I think you need to keep your eye on it, because I think that would not be it's not a bad one to get, really. I mean, if you like Pac-Man at all in any form, you got a lot of choices out there, but that's a pretty good deal, actually. That's a pretty good. Dimajana, what's up, brother? How you doing? Just about getting ready to wrap it up. Got a lot of things covered, and yeah, so it's been crazy. I have before I go, little project update. Okay. I am so excited. So behind the scenes, all of us modders, before we put our videos out, we're going step by step. We got to prove this before we can move on to the next thing. So I had an idea. It's my second countercade project. My beautiful Raiden 2. Oh, that looks great. So my next countercade project is I'm really pumped about it. I don't want to give it away. I'm not going to say what it's being. I'll tell you this: it's not being powered by a Pi or a PS2. It's not. There's not a PS2. It's not a Pandora's box. It's not that. So nothing else would fit really. So what else could it be? I don't want to tell you just yet. But the crux for me was getting the controls to work. Using an encoder didn't work. I had to do some troubleshooting. I had to do some. Oh, what's the shirt say, Dimajana? It says My Luke. If you're a Mandalorian fan, that last episode, season 2, hit me in the feels. I loved it. But anyway, so the stock encoder wouldn't just plug right into the system that I'm using. So I had to do some research. I found an adapter. I had to do proof of concept. You got to test these things. That works. Now I'm on to actually stripping this thing down, and we're going to take the monitor, and we're going to do a horizontal. So it's going to be a horizontal. I will say this is going to be a fighting game. 6-button configuration. So I got a lot to cram in there. On this one, I had to reduce the speaker, to a thinner set of speakers. I think I may have to completely relocate the speaker, maybe up top. I'm not sure, because I'm going to be so jammed in here with buttons. But I think the layout's going to look great. It's going to work out nice. I've already got some of the artwork in. I'm not going to show you. I'm gonna make you wait, make you come back. But it's going to be a really, really fun project. So I'm excited about that one. I have to travel. I'm going to be on the road. So next weekend, I'm not going to be able to get that wrapped up. I'll be out of town. Should be back next week, midweek, mid to late week. Hopefully I can get that to a point where I can show you something. I think it's at least by then I'll owe you something. But the next project after that is something I'm very excited about. So I was disappointed with the Midway Legacy. I like Midway, but I'm more of a Capcom fan. Capcom is my favorite publisher, period, hands down. I love all the publishers are great. They have just they have peaks, they have highs, they have lows. But Capcom for me is the most stable, and they just most of my favorite games are Capcom games. I am making, in my opinion, what a real Capcom Legacy cabinet should be. I'm starting with a brand new RK1-Up cab, and I'm starting with, and then I'm going to use something else, something different, because I want everything to be as plug and play as possible. So I'm using something different that's going to be it's going to be specific to Capcom. I had to import it from England. I hope I got you thinking. So look for that. That is going to be my next big project. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about that. So I'm going to make my own Capcom Legacy cabinet. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to have 16 games at least. It's going to be Wi-Fi. It's going to be crazy. I'm excited about that one. So I'm going to be really excited about that one. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the Countercade. I have some other smaller projects coming on. I've actually come up with an idea, a way to reuse your stock, because I've got a 19-inch in my first-gen cabinet, so I've got that 17-inch kicking around. I've come up with an idea, kind of a cool way to reuse that. So stay tuned for that project also. But anyway, thank you so much for stopping by, guys. I really do appreciate it. And hold on. I got to finish this. With you. And with that, we're done. Everybody, be safe. Have fun gaming, have fun modding, and I will see you